of you know that I've been weaving cats on my 8-shaft loom, and I have patterns that are available. I've been asked many times by people who have rigid Heddle looms, can I weave these cats on my rigid Heddle loom? Well, today I'm going to share with you one way you can do that. So stay tuned as I first talk a little bit about the 8-shaft loom and how that operates, and then I'm going to take you over to the rigid Heddle loom and explain the process that can be used on this loom so you can weave cats. This part of the instructional video, I'm going to talk a little bit about 8-shaft looms and how I weave the cats. This loom is set up and it has, like I said, 8 of these, and they lift up and down, and what happens is, depending on which treadle that things are connected to, I can raise so many of the shafts. So let's take a look. If I press on number 7, you can see there's a space here, a little bit of a space in between. Now what happened was there are 3 threads. You can see 1, 2, 3. Every section here has 3 threads. That relates to these 3 here, which form the cat tail. So the colored part here, which is brown, and on my piece here is this multicolor, is what I'm going to take the shuttle and I am going to move it across all of those, and what happens is I have just made that section of the cat tail. Now right now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, with overshot, what we need to do is we also add another yarn. Now this yarn is thinner than the warp yarn. The warp yarn is 8-2, this is 10-2, and this is 3-2, so it's thicker. The reason I use a thinner yarn is that when I'm finished, it'll really show off the cat. Now this time I'm going to press another treadle, and this one is lifting all the odd numbers. And basically, if I would lift this one every odd number, and then I press another treadle that's connected, it's all the even numbers. It's like every other thread. I could go up and down, but this particular loom allows me to lift all of these at one time, similar to your rigid Heddle loom if you have slot and hole. And then what I can do is I can go all the way across, and I will beat it. Then, again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the pattern calls for 5 of the cat color, whatever color you're using. And I'm going to press another treadle, and what happens again, it lifts all of these, but it keeps all the 3s down that are part of the cat tail. Now in this case though, because I didn't use a floating selvage, I need to make sure I wrap around that last one, or I could also, what I'm going to do on the rigid Heddle, I can press that last thread down just to catch that one, bring it across, beat it, and now I'm going to do the same thing again. This time I'm going to press the other. Again, if you were on a rigid Heddle loom, it would either be the slots or the holes, whichever one. And I'm going to take the shuttle and go across and lock it. Now I'm finished with the cat tail. So the next part I look at, and I can see here they're crossing over more, which means in this case it is, I'm going down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, it's 7. It's 7. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And again, I have a way of tying this treadle up in a direction that it will raise the right heddles for me. So now I'm going to press, and in this situation, I have a little cheat sheet over here that tells me which one. I put my pattern, if you're a weaver, I use something like this, and it tells me the numbers. So I just did number 7 5 times. Now I'm going to go over and I'm going to do number 3 1 time. That means treadle 3. And again, what's happening, I'm lifting all of these, but what's happening is there are 7 threads that are held down. They're down. And again, since I did not, I'm going to make sure I didn't use a floating selvage like I suggest in the pattern. I'm going to go across, and again, I've done all the cats, and there are 25 cats across here. Then, like every other one, kind of like when you're on your rigid heddle as well, I'm going to press a treadle, though in this case, rather than lifting my heddle, and I'm going across, and I have just done part of the cat tail. And what I will continue to do is press treadles to lift each one of those that creates the shape of the cat. If you're interested in this pattern, I do have it available in both of my shops, my opalescence shop, and I also have it in my Etsy shop. All right, you can see I've made some progress. I'm on the cat's head, and when I'm doing the cat's head, I am pressing one treadle that is actually lifting. See how many threads are in there for the cat's head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7. Now I have 2 more to go across for the cat's head. Remember, we're doing the one, that's the pattern. Then I do a tabby. Oh, got things caught here. Looks like my yarn is caught a little bit on something that it shouldn't be caught on. This is what happens when you're trying to do a video here and bring it back out again. All right, so we're going to, again, use that. Then I'm going to take the tabby across. And we have one more for the cat's head. And another tabby. When that starts to happen, it tells me I need to advance my warp a little bit. Now, right now it's a little spaced in some ways, spacing here, but what happens when it's finished, I machine wash and dry it, and it all kind of squishes together is the terminology that I'm going to use. Now I'm at the cat's ears, and in this case, we have to do something a little different. Actually, I will on the rigid Heddle loom. Is that we have for the ears, we have 2 here, then I have 3 up and then 2 more. And that's how the loom was set up. So I'm going to do 2 of these for the cat's ears. We go across for 1, and then I'm going to do another one of these. And then I'm going to press again the treadles that I have tied up to make the pattern. We go across, and then we do another tabby across. Now what happens now, I have a few to do. I'm going to go back and forth as I did down here to do the space in between, this time the ears and the border. And then I'm going to switch back to my regular, the color I was weaving with, the same as the 6-2. And if you're noticing there's some different color variation going on, that's because this warp has been hand dyed. So I'm going to finish that, and then I'll take a picture of what it looks like when it's finished. And now you can see I'm all finished with the cats. Try to do a little bit of a close-up. Some of them are going to go off the screen. That's what they look like on the loom. This is the one showing you. Once they're finished and washed and dried, they'll look a little more like that. And there's a little bit of shrinkage, warp and weft as well.